July 2025. The skies above Incheon were ordinary, the terminal quiet, no flashing cameras, no media frenzy. And yet, somewhere behind tinted windows and careful airport exits, Jungkook had come home. Not for a concert, not for a press conference, not for a performance, just back. Quietly, briefly, purposefully. After weeks of confirmed sightings in Los Angeles, where BTS is reportedly working on a new group album for 2026, news broke on July 29th that Jungkook had touched down in South Korea. Though no paparazzi caught him, fan tracking sites and flight patterns hinted at his arrival. And soon, whispers turned into a wildfire across social media. Jungkook's return wasn't announced. It wasn't commercialized. It was deeply private. But for ARMY, nothing about Jungkook is ever just casual. ARMY, always sharp-eyed and detail-driven, quickly offered their theories. Some believe Jungkook may be finalizing solo deals or schedules postponed during military service, recording secret content in Korea that's tied to BTS's 2026 album, attending a personal family event, or simply regrounding himself in Seoul, visiting a BTS member, staff, or even attending a closed-door HYBE meeting. One popular theory ties his return to the sudden uptick in HYBE activity in Seoul, from the company's recent legal issues to the logistics of planning an OT7 album release, to new endorsements reportedly negotiated behind the scenes. Still, others think it's purely emotional. After everything, he just needed to feel home again, one fan posted. The gym in LA builds strength, but Seoul rebuilds his soul. To outsiders, a short trip to Korea may seem routine, but for Jungkook, who spent nearly 2 years out of the public spotlight, completing military service and preparing for BTS's reunion, this return feels different. Seoul is more than a hometown. It's the city where he trained as a teenager, the studio where he recorded his first solo verse, the quiet alleys he used to walk during sleepless nights, the rooftops where BTS looked up at fireworks and dreamed of Grammys. Now he returns as a man who's endured warlike drills, global scrutiny, and the silent weight of expectation. Every step on Korean soil is history retraced. Fans didn't need press releases to care. Within hours of the news breaking, trending hashtags exploded. Hashtag Jungkook is back, hashtag welcome home JK, hashtag JK in Korea. Even the air in Seoul is different when he's here. Artworks were posted, edits were shared, some fans left letters at the HYBE building welcoming him home. Others wrote poetry, calling this a spiritual return, not just physical. And yet the most touching response was the silence. No crowds waited at the airport, no invasion of privacy, just respect. ARMY had grown with him. They knew when to scream, and they knew when to let him breathe. Jungkook's quiet return comes during a transformational month for BTS. All members are now officially discharged. J-Hope and Jin have launched solo events. BTS is preparing to release a new live album and plan a full comeback. And Jungkook, who dominated charts with 7, 3D, and Standing Next to You, is now poised for both solo resurgence and group leadership. Could this trip mark a new phase? Could he be filming teaser content for BTS's next chapter? Or is this simply a pause before the storm? A moment to remember where it all began before the world turns its eyes on him again. He's no longer the golden maknae, wide-eyed and uncertain. He's John Jungkook, soldier, artist, symbol, survivor. And as he walks Seoul's streets, whether to a studio, a rooftop, or a friend's apartment, he carries more than luggage. He carries 10 years of memories, expectations, and love. Sometimes you return to the past not to stay, but to remind yourself how far you've come. Jungkook's July 2025 return may not make international headlines, but for those who have followed his journey, it's a symbol of healing, of reflection, of preparation. Sometimes the loudest chapter begins with the quietest page. And somewhere in Seoul tonight, behind a closed door or a studio mic, Jungkook may be preparing the next sentence of BTS's story. And when it's written, the world will listen. It's rare in the K-pop world, where idols are trained to constantly perform, for an artist to make an impact without a single post,
photo, or statement. Yet, Jungkook did just that. He arrived, and that was enough. The ARMY didn't need visuals. They didn't need interviews. His presence alone sent waves through the fandom, not because of what he said, but because of what his silence represented. A pause, a heartbeat, a moment between chapters. In a world that thrives on noise, Jungkook's quiet return to Korea felt loud. Some fans were quick to connect his return to 2013, the year BTS debuted. Back then, Jungkook was just 15, walking those same streets with a backpack and a dream. Now, 12 years later, he's walking again, this time as a global icon, a seasoned performer, and a man who's weathered the storm of fame, duty, and public scrutiny. One viral fan post read, "Maybe he came back to remember the boy who started it all. Maybe he came back to remind himself why he sings." This July return, then, isn't just a geographic trip. It's an emotional journey, a reconnection with the soul of his artistry, one that began not in Hollywood, but in the neon-lit nights of Seoul, in basement studios and training rooms filled with sweat and uncertainty. As ARMYs reflect on this brief return, the mythos around post-military Jungkook continues to grow. This isn't the Jungkook of 2022, all glitz and global hits. This is a man who's endured 18 months of military silence, time away from microphones and sold-out arenas, an internal rebirth of purpose, grit, and maturity. And now, fans are seeing the rebirth of the artist, not just the idol. A version of Jungkook that moves with deliberate mystery, with actions that are poetic even when wordless. He's crafting his story quietly now, like a novelist who doesn't need to promote each chapter, just write it well. Of course, speculation continues to swirl. Is this return tied to a secret project? Could it hint at pre-filming for a documentary, music video, or BTS reunion teaser? Are photo shoots or solo brand campaigns in the works? Is there something HYBE hasn't told us yet? The industry is holding its breath, because if Jungkook came back, even briefly, it wasn't without intention. The man who once told fans, "Trust me, I'll always come back stronger," has never broken that promise. The truth is, Jungkook doesn't have to do much to create magic anymore. A whisper of his return sparks headlines. A rumor sends hashtags flying. A sighting feels like a holiday. This isn't just stardom, it's symbolism. A bond between artist and fandom so strong that even an unspoken moment carries emotional weight. His presence is a reminder of continuity, that even in his quietest phases, he never really left us. And when he's ready to speak again, through music, movement, or message, the world will not just listen, it will feel. As July draws to a close, fans are watching every sign. Will Jungkook appear at a Korean event in early August? Will HYBE drop teasers related to BTS's full group return? Is a solo documentary or birthday project underway for September? The world is guessing, but Jungkook is not rushing. He never has. You waited. Now what? Taeyong once said. Perhaps Jungkook is asking the same. Silently, softly, powerfully. There are moments in a star's journey when things shift. Not loudly, not dramatically, but deeply. This moment, this silent July return, feels like one of them. Jungkook walked Seoul's ground again, and in doing so, he reminded millions of who he was and who he's becoming. The golden boy, the global icon, the quiet storm before the comeback. Whatever comes next, a song, a reunion, a whisper, will be there. Because he came back, and now the countdown has truly begun. No paparazzi, no press conference, no official statement from HYBE. Jungkook's return to South Korea in late July 2025 didn't come with flashing lights or viral selfies, and yet it felt larger than any media campaign. It was a homecoming not to promote something, but to remember something, to reconnect with the streets that shaped him, the skyline that watched over his youth, and the silence that allows a star to listen to his own heart. Maybe he didn't come back for us. Maybe he came back for himself. And that, in a way, is what makes it even more meaningful. Because when an artist finally chooses themselves, not as a performer, not as a product, but as a person, their art becomes even more real. Fans didn't hear him say a thing, but they heard him loud and clear. He walked through a city that once saw him as a trainee. Now he returns as a global icon, but still carries the humility of that teenage boy with dreams too big for one lifetime. And whether he came back to plan, to heal, or just to breathe, the fandom responded not with demands, but with understanding. They didn't ask for a post. They simply whispered, "Take your time, Jungkook. We're still here." Every great story has an interlude. Every masterpiece needs silence before the crescendo. And this is Jungkook's moment of stillness. But make no mistake, something is coming. Not because of hype or hashtags, but because he came back. He returned to Korea. He returned to his roots. And maybe, just maybe, he returned to remind us that after all these years, all the stages and all the noise, he still belongs to the music. And he still belongs to us. The world is watching. The clock is ticking. And Jungkook is almost ready.